Lame Truth here, and if you guys could drop a like on this, I would appreciate it. It'll help push it into the algorithm. People can see it. And I just want this to be seen. I want people to kind of know the truth of what's going on here. I've been sitting on this topic for a while. The main reason being is because it's, honest to God, a little frightening talking about this because it's right in our faces, and yet a lot of people don't see it. And when I show you what I'm talking about, and this pertains to the matchmaking blog we got, what was it, a month ago now or something like that? This pertains to that. When I actually show you what I'm talking about, you're gonna be shocked. Let me just open this by saying, imagine you guys see me, one of you guys sees me in the woods, okay? And I'm next to a dead body. I don't have any blood on me, but I'm next to a dead body with fresh blood on it. This person's dead, and I'm the only person there. And you look at me and you ask me, Lame Truth, did you kill this man? And I look at you and I say, I have no reason to kill anyone. Now, I'm assuming most of you guys would trust me. I have truth in my name after all. So what would your first kind of quick response reaction be? It'd be to believe me, right? But wait just a minute. Let's go back and analyze what I said. You asked me if I killed this person that's next to me. There's no evidence that I did. I don't have any blood on my hands. You can't just say like, oh man, you have a knife with blood on it. There's a guy with a stab wound with blood on it. You're guilty. There's none of that. But you asked me, did I kill this person? And I say, I have no reason to. Notice how I didn't give you a yes or no answer. It's as simple as that. I didn't give you a yes or no answer, but it sounds like a no. It's a carefully phrased way of saying no without actually saying no. But the question is, am I lying? Let's assume that if I'm lying, God will strike me down where I stand. So, is this a lie? No. Technically speaking, no, it's not. I have no reason to kill this person, but I still did it. I don't need a reason. Maybe I had literally no reason. That is the truth, but I still struck this man dead. And that's what we're gonna cover today, because the Call of Duty matchmaking blog post, it's written like Charles Manson or something. For one, why did it take them so long to give us this blog post? Well, because they had to run it by legal teams, pretty much, lawyers. They had to carefully, and I mean carefully, word this so they couldn't lie to us, but they also could kind of phrase the questions in such a way to not give us the full truth. And this isn't some like conspiracy thing. This is exactly how they worded it. Even the questions that they ask are not technically questions that the community have been asking. And keep in mind, we only got this matchmaking talk because we wouldn't shut the fuck up about it for years. This matchmaking system was implemented silently. This current one we have right now was implemented silently with Modern Warfare 2019. As soon as they got rid of loot boxes, this strict insane matchmaking was introduced. Why do you think that is? It's because, well, the whole loot box thing, and that was out in the open, you know, they got shut down. That was their main moneymaker. They have to find a new way to make money, and they did, and it's by manipulating you and not telling you, because they don't have to. They don't have to tell you. This matchmaking blog post they wrote is a big fucking lie. It is a huge distraction. Have you noticed no one's really talking about it now? No one's speaking up about it anymore. Well, here I am, and I'm speaking up about it. And before I get into the nitty-gritty, if you want to break this matchmaking system, then check out today's sponsor because it'll help you out. And I think everyone at this stage should just completely destroy what Activision is giving us, because, guys, we'll get into it in a second, but let's break the Call of Duty matchmaking if you insist on still playing it. It's 2024, it's time to get a VPN, and my VPN of choice is Private Internet Access. I'm sure you guys know what a VPN is. It helps keep you private online, but what you may not know is it can help you find easier lobbies, bot lobbies, if you will, on certain multiplayer games like Call of Duty. And you can do this by accessing other locations and fooling the matchmaking, essentially. So you can connect maybe in Texas if you're in Canada, and you will be facing a lot easier competition because skill-based matchmaking cannot work. Private internet access also helps with bypassing ISP throttling, which can lead to lower ping times and faster download and upload speeds. You can avoid DDoS attacks as well. This is a big one. Overcome IP address bans, access geo-restricted games and platforms that are blocked in your country, as well as access any other form of entertainment you want that may be blocked by your geo-specific location. And private internet access is my go-to to just fix all of these issues. And you can go to piavpn.com/blametruth to get 83% off private internet access for 4 months. It's cheap, it's affordable. I'm giving you an amazing deal. Click the link in the video description or the pinned comment below. Get PIA and get protected today. All right, guys, so this is the official kind of circle graph thing. I don't even know what it is, actually, of how matchmaking works in Call of Duty, or so they say. A lot of ex-COD devs actually replied to this blog post, this matchmaking blog post, and just said bullshit. They said, no, this isn't true. A lot of players said that, no, this isn't indicative of my personal experience with the game. And there's a reason for that. It's because for all the shit I give Activision and Blizzard and Call of Duty devs and stuff like that, they're geniuses. More and more people are waking up to EOMM. So what better time to cover skill-based matchmaking? Let that be, swept under the rug so people will stop talking about it. Because if people actually found out what's really going on, they would be insanely upset. And you're going to find out what's actually going on here in this video. So again, skill, performance, right there. It's right there. Skill and performance is sort of in the middle. Connection, ping is king. It's not true. Playlist diversity, time to match, also not really true. I don't know. All these things factor into matchmaking, but skill performance is an interesting one. Let's actually consult the Q&A section of their blog post to show you what I'm talking about with the weird way things are worded. And this is intentional. It took them, technically 5 years to get this out, but it took them over a month since they said they would talk about it to get this out, when this should have been written in like a day. Does the Call of Duty matchmaking process impact any in-game elements such as hit registration, player visibility, aim assist, damage, etc.? No, our matchmaking process does not impact gameplay elements. Now, just really take a look at this. How it's worded, how the question's worded, their response. They should be answering this by saying, no, that's not in the game at all. Instead, they answer it like, no, our matchmaking process does not impact gameplay elements, which is a weird way to word it, but maybe you're not convinced. Maybe that's just a one-off, right? Let's go to the next one, okay? Does Call of Duty consider player engagement or time played as a factor in matchmaking? This is a fair question, but they answer it oddly. We do not consider how often or how much you play when determining matchmaking. And while technically that may be true, you can get into a skill-based, high-skill tier lobby or whatever based on your past performance. It doesn't answer the question fully. It doesn't answer the question with how little someone plays, maybe factoring in. I mean, if this is engagement optimized matchmaking and you play one match and then you get off for the day because it sucked, and then you come back later on, is it going to manipulate your experience knowing that you are going to get off if you have a rough game? It doesn't take into account that. It does not answer that question. If they said, we do not consider how often, how much, or how little you play when determining matchmaking, or that has nothing to do with how we match, whether you play a lot, whether you play some and then hop off for the day, whatever, that has nothing to do with it. They didn't answer it like that. Maybe you're still not convinced, though. Let's get to the kicker here, all right? The real kicker. Does Call of Duty use bots in multiplayer matchmaking? Call of Duty multiplayer does not use bots as part of the general matchmaking process. If this changes in the future, we will inform the community. What does that mean? What is the general matchmaking process? Does that mean you put them into the not general matchmaking process? The person that tweeted this, a popular Call of Duty leaker, his name's Alex on Twitter. So he actually was able to spawn in bots with console commands in Warzone, and they played like a human being. Now, he's since privated his account, I think because Twitter is just awful and people on there are just awful. But no, he legit spawned bots like from console commands and stuff. I'm not sure exactly how he does what he does, but he's able to like dig into the game files and find stuff before it comes out. So he's pretty reputable, you know? I mean, why did the whole bot thing start in this game? Like the whole rumor of it. Now, apparently there's no proof of it, but the way they worded it is so odd. They should just say, no, there's no bots anywhere in the multiplayer at all. We don't use them. If this changes, we'll tell you. It's just the way they worded it. It's off. But let's talk about engagement one more time here. Engagement optimized matchmaking. What is that? They say they're doing it in the blog post. They say it's engagement optimized matchmaking literally in the blog post, but they're passing it off as just matchmaking, the matchmaking process, or even skill-based matchmaking. They're still not even super like comfortable talking about that. They're not calling it that. They're putting skill way below where it should be, when that's simply just not true. That's not how the fucking matchmaking works. They say we use player performance to ensure that the disparity between the most skilled player in the lobby and the least skilled player in the lobby isn't so vast that players feel their match is a waste of time. Our data on player outcomes, yeah, that's highlighted for a reason, clearly indicates that the inclusion of skill in Call of Duty's multiplayer matchmaking process as it currently stands increases the variety of outcomes experienced by players of all skill levels. In other words, all players, regardless of skill level, are more likely to experience wins and losses more proportionally. What is that? That's not skill-based matchmaking, guys. That is communism, basically. That is literally manipulating our experiences to give everyone a 50-50 win-loss, essentially. If you're playing in a party, you're gonna get matched with someone overseas from you, where the ping is so bad, you are almost forced into a loss. That is not skill-based matchmaking. It's not. I'm sorry. Now, if you use a VPN like my sponsor and then put yourself over there because you break the EOMM, SBMM, whatever you want to call it, that's a different story, but you're getting like top competition on a terrible connection. Have you ever noticed that when you play solo, you will be pretty much carrying the team if you're doing well? Have you noticed that? Yeah. This is the most manipulative, like, Charles Manson-esque cult leader-like responses I have ever seen. I'm not saying that any of this stuff is actually in the game as it stands, but the way they've worded it, the way they've hidden the player counts, the way they've hidden the matchmaking from us and not talked about it, and have every single dev sign an NDA. I mean, if you have nothing to hide, why wasn't this talked about when you released Modern Warfare 2019 back in the day? Because it's not about player retention. This system has never been about player retention. You can look at Steam charts and see the percentage decline, not the actual number of players, but the percentage decline, and deduce that it's the same or roughly the same on other platforms. This system does not help with player retention. This system aims to get the players still playing the game after people leave and quit playing and move on to something else, addicted to spending money. Manipulates your experience. It's like a slot machine. It's literally like a slot machine. And if you don't believe me, if you're not convinced or whatever, just based on this blog post, I have another video I will link at the end of this one talking about EOMM in depth and the patents behind it and stuff like that. And it matches up identically, 1-to-1, with Call of Duty's matchmaking. This blog post they gave us talking about it does not match up at all. It's not true. And when this came out, I called it out and I'm like, that doesn't seem right. You know, like this is not my experience or most people's experience with this game. It just is not. Guys, I'm gonna wrap up the video here. It's a scary thing to talk about, by the way, for the simple fact that when I point this stuff out, either A, more people are going to bring it up, B, I'm gonna get labeled like a conspiracy theorist or a nut or whatever, even though their language is so vague that, I mean, even the way they worded the questions isn't exactly how we would word them as the community. There's a reason why they don't do like a live sit-down interview. They don't talk about this on Reddit or whatever. There's a reason this was done in a blog post, and it's to cover their ass and pull the wool over your eyes. It gives you the vaguest idea, pretty much stuff we've already figured out on our own over the years, thanks to guys like Drifter and Ace and whatnot. It gives us that, which is already what we already knew, which is just stuff we already knew. Gives us nothing new, but gives us something that like doesn't make a lot of sense with our personal experience. Our personal experience being that this game feels rigged. And I don't know, man. I'm not a gambler, guys. I don't gamble. The closest I get to gambling is playing Hearthstone. I picked up the game again just recently, got to Legend. I feel like Uncle Rico when I play it. Back in the day, I used to be a Hearthstone, like, not pro, but semi-pro. I bet you I could throw a Ragnaros over those mountains. Anyway, that's about as close as I get to like gambling or whatever. I've been to a casino. It's just not for me. So when I play Call of Duty, this matchmaking turns me off. I have 50 hours. I have 50 hours played on Modern Warfare 3. Guys, I'm not exaggerating. Every year I play less and less. Every single year. From Cold War to Vanguard, I played Vanguard less. From Vanguard to MW2, I played MW2 less. From MW2 to MW3, I played that less. I mean, it just gets worse and worse. And it's just, something's gotta change. Because yes, this makes them a lot of money. But we've seen on their quarterly like player counts and stuff like that, with just all Activision Blizzard titles, we've seen a decline, guys. Microsoft, I don't think they're going to do anything but make things worse. If you have any expectations, any hope for the next Call of Duty game because Treyarch's behind it, seriously, take those expectations down a whole lot or you're going to get disappointed. I'm out of time though, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Ring that notification bell, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.